it's really a bad feeling when you're let go from a company.
Yeah.
But I know that each one of them, um, there's still a lot in front of them, and they'll do great things coming in the future. Whether it's here in Impact or anywhere else, I know those people are survivors, and they're going to go out there and they're going to prove a lot of people wrong that they were let go.
What's up, Bengal fans? It's your host, Joey Karni, and I want to thank you for clicking on this video. It was an amazing experience, and I can't wait for you to watch the full episode and enjoy it just as much as I did filming it. Now, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe down below to stay up to date with all the Angles activity right here on YouTube. Now, enjoy the show. Let's go, let's go! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Angle Podcast. I'm your host, Joey Karni, and with me today, a true legend in the wrestling business. He has mastered performing in the ring, working backstage, and now calling the action ringside with Impact Wrestling. Please welcome D'Lo Brown. How are you?
I'm fine, my man. How are you doing? And thank you for having me on today.
Awesome. I appreciate you taking the time and to talk. And there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about with you, but to really start off, you've transitioned from so many different roles in wrestling. How was the transition from to being a backstage producer?
I think that was one of the hardest parts of going from in the ring competitive to now trying to take that natural competitive juice that I have, and instead of focusing on making my match the best, now it was transferring that energy to help wrestlers build their matches and perform at their highest level, get the best out of them. So that was the hardest transition for me. But once I made that transition over, um, and you find that different love for it, that different enjoyment, it became pretty easy after that.
And I mean, from being in the ring for so long, doing so many different things, did you ever have this plan for after wrestling that you'd be involved somewhat backstage or even now ringside? Was this ever like in the cards for you?
I always knew I wanted to do something with an office. I've seen those who have come up before me and seen those guys who were in ring performers, and they were also doing work backstage. And I always thought that was be a nice path. Your body can only last for so long, but hopefully your brain can go for a lot longer. So it was always in the back of my mind. But when the opportunity finally came, I jumped at it.
Of course. And recently in January, uh, Hard to Kill, big moment for Impact Wrestling, not just in the ring, but also ringside too. You and Matt Striker both joining the commentary team. And ever since then, honestly, top-notch quality work. I mean, probably my favorite announced team across the board right now, just because there's so many aspects to the storytelling and the emotion and also the knowledge behind it. Was commentary something that you were interested in at all?
Well, I had done it before briefly back in WWE when I was with Jonathan Coachman doing Sunday Night Heat. And it was something that I always liked, but then moved away from it and didn't do much with it until this opportunity came up. And I think that Matt and I are trying to bring a unique feel to our desk, to our commentary desk. We want to be different than anybody out there, but not different in a way where it's going to, bother people to hear us, but different where you go, okay, this is a unique, fresh new twist on a commentary desk, and we're trying to give that, combative sports feel, that
Yeah.
MMA, that NFL feel, where it's just two guys sitting down watching TV, and oh, by the way, you just happen to overhear us talking about wrestling. I think we're doing a good job with it. I think the people have given us a lot of positive feedback, and I wake up enjoying the job, and I can't wait to call the next match.
And that was kind of leading into my next question as to what's the secret almost behind the chemistry that you have with Matt Striker?
The fact that we're friends off camera, and we both have a love and a passion and respect for wrestling, and then it's pretty easy to talk about something you love, right? So that's when it comes to wrestling, it's just easy to talk about something I love and admire.
Now, you've done so many things, a variety of things in your career, whether that's in WWE or Impact Wrestling. Do you have a favorite time in your career within Impact?
With an Impact, I love the whole Aces and Eights storyline. I thought that was delicately weaving through with the mysteries of who's in the company, who's not, who's actually a mole. Um, I love that time. I thought Ace and Eights was a group that was cutting edge for its time and connected with the people. So that was one of my favorite times in Impact.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's one of the most underrated, honestly, factions in the history of wrestling, just because
Hmm.
the longevity of it, but also the inclusion of so many different characters and really growing those characters. I mean, having the Dudley Boys as Bubba Ray or Bully Ray as a world champion, leading to so many different things and so many others' careers. I think that was probably, like I said, one of the most underrated factions in all of wrestling. Now, I guess in January, you could say there was a tease with you on Impact that there was going to be some sort of reunion for the Aces and Eights. Was that
Well,
ever in the cards, or was that just a tease for different things happening within Impact?
it was a tease, but I tell everybody that Ace and Eights is like the wind. It's always around. You can feel it. You never know when it's going to show up, but it's always there. So it's that's Ace and Eights, and you never know. One day you might look up and there goes there goes the biker cuts and the
Yeah,
gloves, and here we go again.
of course. And coming up soon, April 25th, Impact Wrestling Rebellion. Huge main event.
Yeah.
Probably one of the biggest matches, I think, of the year so far in wrestling. Champion versus champion, Kenny Omega, Rich Swann, AEW, Impact. This sort of crossover type feel thing that's going on really coming to a head. What are you expecting from sitting ringside, from the commentators, I guess, point of view?
Um, I expect to see the best out of both guys. I expect to see them lay it all on the line. This is about company pride. This is about personal pride. This is about um, standing up to an invasion. This is about trying to take over. And at the end of the night, the crazy thing to think about is one man is going to represent two companies as its world champion, and something like that hasn't even been talked about, heard about in 40 or 50 years in wrestling. So I'm excited that we're going to do something that is you know game changing and revolutionary, and it's gonna be fun to be part of it.
Now, a lot of fans were asking me on Twitter when I'm talking about what's going on with AEW and Impact, and a lot of people are actually confused as will the winner of this match represent, like you just said, both companies? Will there still be two titles? Do you have any insight as to what the future will hold going forward, as opposed to being two champions and one?
No, all I know is that, like I said, one man is going to represent two companies. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know how that's going to feel. I mean, I'll have a better understanding at about midnight on Sunday night to let you know how I'm feeling. But no matter what, um, no matter what it looks like, it's going to have people talking about wrestling again. And to me, that's a good thing when people are talking about this business and this sport, and when they're in tune with what we're doing. That's a good thing.
Of course. And this pay per view, I mean, the card right now is stacked. I mean, from the top of the card with Omega and Rich, and then you have Trey Miguel and Sammy. There's so many different stories on this card. Is there a match in particular that you're looking to watch most as a fan, but also from the commentary booth standpoint?
I have two of them. I'm really looking forward to seeing um, Deonna versus Tennille. I think to see two young women who can wrestle as well as they can connect and go at it. I'm looking forward to seeing that physical game of chess. And then the one I think I'm looking forward to the most is the X Division three way between Ace Austin, TJP, and Josh Alexander. I love any combination of these three guys, let alone all three of them in the ring together, is just something. And my feeling is this match could turn Rebellion on its ear and steal the show. Like I think this has potential to be one of the best matches of the year.
I tend to agree with you there. And the X Division and Impact is something that's so unique opposed to the rest of the wrestling world, but it's also so significant because it creates stars. I mean, these some
Hmm.
guys start in the X division just like Ace Austin, and then they make their way up to the world title scene. Is this something that being backstage, is that something that you tend to try to portray to the fans that this is like a stepping stone to the next level, or is it really, uh, you join the X division and that's kind of where you are?
No, I mean it's definitely a launching point. You can look back at the history of this company and look at guys like Samoa Joe or AJ Styles who've gone through the X division and on to be world champion. I think it's an incredible badge of honor to be the X division champion,
Yeah,
because I think this is like the X division is a giant culmination of every different discipline that's in wrestling. And if you can be the master of this division, that's saying something about you. If you can constantly go out there and perform in some of the best matches on the show, this says something about you. So I would never call the X division a stepping stone. I just call it a launching point. And you can go as high as the rocket will take you if you can hold the X division.
of course. And like I said, the X division really just creating the future, like big stars of the wrestling world. And like you said, a launching pad really is true. And there's so much history behind it. I'm excited for the match, like you said, the three-way at Rebellion. But a surprise announcement coming out last week, Mauro Ranello, legendary figure,
Yeah.
in commentating really, or in
hmm
talking in wrestling, will be joining the team for Rebellion. What are your thoughts on that, and kind of what are the plans? Like, is he calling the main event, or is he throughout the show?
Well, first of all, I'm so excited to have Morrow with us. I think he's one of the most recognizable and powerful voices in combat sports, and to have him sitting there next to us, he'll be out there for the main event. To have him sitting there next to us is going to be a treat for me. The one that I'm going to take in every second of and um, try to get as much knowledge as I can from him in that short amount of time. Uh, and I think having that voice out there for such a powerful main event, um, it's a hell of a get for Impact, and I can't wait to be out there with him.
Of course. And I think, wherever he goes, the eyes come. So I think this is a huge moment for Impact, especially with the main event. And all the matches, like you said, on this card are really just standout matches.
Mhm.
I'm really excited for this show. Now, being backstage, doing your work backstage for so long with Impact, is there a difference that you see today opposed to the different generations you've been a part of within Impact? I guess from the backstage point of view.
Um, from the backstage point of view, it's just different styles of wrestling. It's obviously not my wrestling. It's not the wrestling that Ron Simmons knew, but it's still wrestling, and it's up to me, as a professional, to evolve with today's game and to evolve with today's talent, so I can communicate with them, so we can still get the best out of each one of them when they go out there and wrestle. So um, wrestling is still wrestling. It's a little different, but it's still wrestling at the end of the day, and something I enjoy being part of. So um, challenge accepted. Let's go learn the language. Let's go.
Of course. And along the lines of being backstage, you are around all of the talent with Impact Wrestling, from the Knockouts division, X division. Is there anyone in particular that you could say that you firmly believe is the future of Impact Wrestling, being a part of, the beginning phases?
Well, I mean, easily Deonna Purrazzo is going to be the face of the Knockouts division for a long time to come.
Yeah.
Um, that woman has got star written all over her, and she carries herself and in and out of the ring like a star. Always Eddie Edwards is a guy you look at and you go, man, Eddie is like the flag bearer of this company, and
Yep.
there's still great things waiting down the road for Eddie Edwards. And then you look at a young guy like Ace Austin. I think he's got the potential to become, be special in this business and be a multiple time world champion here in Impact Wrestling. So, I mean, the future is bright for our company. We've got people lined up everywhere and can handle different roles. And I think, man, there's so much on the horizon for this company. I'm just excited.
I've been a fan of Impact. I firmly since the early 2000s, and to see the progression
Mhm.
of not only the product itself, but the performers who are on there who go on to do some phenomenal things in the wrestling world.
Mhm.
It's one of my favorite spots to be as a pro wrestling fan, especially today having so many different options. I'm really curious to see your perspective being a part of Impact for so long, being a part of every area of it, how do you think Impact goes up against the other organizations within wrestling? How does it like
Uh,
stand out?
for us, I think we just find our niche and we do it as best we can. Um, I think in this COVID era of wrestling, I think when you take away all the bells and whistles, wrestling TV production comes down to how good a talent you have in the ring wrestling, how good storylines that you have, and I think over this COVID era, that Impact has done it better than anybody else. I mean, we didn't try to hide what we are. We
Yeah,
put wrestling right out in the forefront and just went with it. And I think that's a testament of our company and our strength, as well as our determination to find our place in this industry and hold on to it tightly.
of course, and it's been the most consistent company throughout this pandemic era. Uh, a lot of other companies, making different calls, budget cuts, whatever. Impact stepping up and really just doing a lot within this era. And speaking of those things that recently happened, there's a lot of I guess buzz around the WWE talent that were just released last
Hmm.
week. Samoa Joe, Chelsea Green, former talent from Impact. Do you
Hmm.
think that, or could you possibly see a future for them back in Impact when their 90 days are up?
You could see that, and hopefully, I mean, it's really a bad feeling when you're let go from a company.
Yeah,
But I know that each one of them, um, there's still a lot in front of them, and they'll do great things coming in the future. Um, whether it's here in Impact or anywhere else, I know those people are survivors, and they're going to go out there and they're going to prove a lot of people wrong that they were let go.
of course, and we're seeing it now with Impact. All the talent that Impact has gained and the stars they've really let blossom. And they were always
Mhm.
stars, but they let them blossom. And I think that's the best part about Impact is that you guys give the talent the opportunity to really stand out and do their thing. So as a wrestling fan, I'm appreciative for the work that Impact does. So kudos to you guys for that.
Well, appreciate
Um,
that. Thank you.
for the fans listening and watching right now, where could they go to follow and find D'Lo Brown on, I guess, on social media or wherever you are?
You can always follow me on Twitter at DLoBrown75. I'm the only verified D'Lo. A couple fake ones out there, but I'm the only verified one. And hit me up. I'll talk Impact Wrestling. I'll talk Liverpool football. I'll talk Chicago Bears football. I will. Hell, I'll show you what I'm cooking for dinner tomorrow night. So I'm pretty interactive on there. And give me your feedback on our commentary. I take criticism, constructive, all day long. So let's hear about it.
I'm excited for everything that's coming with Impact Rebellion. To kind of end this on a high note, what are your final thoughts or something to leave the fans on going into Rebellion in just a few days?
I will say this, that if you have been sleeping on Impact or you've been on the fence on whether you're going to watch Impact or not, let Rebellion be the deciding factor. Tune in because you're going to get 3 hours of just wrestling entertainment. And then we're going to give you the Unification World Championship match. You know, title versus title is something we haven't seen in forever. And this is the icing on the cake of what's going to be a stacked Rebellion show. So if you're on the fence, tune into this one because I guarantee you, if you watch this, you're never gonna turn us off again.
Awesome. Just those words there. I'm even more excited for Rebellion than I was before. I want to thank you for taking the time to talk. I've been a fan of yours for I think forever, really, from in your WWE days, and it is a true honor to sit down and talk to you. So I really do appreciate the time.
My absolute pleasure, and thank you for having me on. And let's do it again soon.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's go, let's go!